We got amazing just row of competition. We got vegetables, flowers. There's a Larry Bird pumpkin.
This is what gets me here, Micah. So all the 4-H projects, this is like the Super Bowl of 4-H. Yeah. And I want to make sure folks don't forget that part of it, because you can come here to the state fair, you can ride all the rides, you can eat all the food, you can do all of those things, but this really is about 4-H, and it's about the youth in Indiana.
Amazing.
And all of these projects, not just the livestock projects, the ones you see out on the dirt or anything else, they've got projects galore over in the 4-H building. They've got it here in the Coliseum.
I saw like Legos. I saw amazing farm, just structures, like these cool renditions of farms, just out of all kinds of material.
They make food and they judge it. I mean, there are all sorts of things, and there is a Larry Bird pumpkin back here, and somehow it has a second place tag on it, and I don't get it. But right next to it is a Caitlin Clark zucchini. So I guess that's the shift.
Did that take first?
It's in first.
So Indiana is moving on to the next generation.
This is the shift in basketball, and you know what? It's a good thing. She's been good for it.
She has. I mean, can you imagine if we wouldn't have had that first round draft pick that year? I mean, it would have changed history.
It absolutely would. It has changed history here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be a part of.
It is.
Especially having a daughter that loves basketball.
There you go.
It's tremendous.
Okay, so I want to talk to you a little bit about Who's Your Ag Today, because I think it's an amazing asset to our state. But most people don't know about it. If you ask just the everyday Hoosier, they won't realize that there's really a whole media division just dedicated to promoting farmers.
Absolutely.
And you've been a long time, just member of that whole organization.
So Who's Your Ag Today was formed in 2006. There have been farm radio networks that air on radio stations across the state. They've been going back all the way to the 80s. Gary Truitt is our founder. Gary's been doing this in Indiana since the 80s and recently kind of took on a different role. I'm now president of the company. He's taking a step back, and deservedly so. What he built here in Indiana, he built one network back again in the 80s and then built this one in 2006 because really it was void of a network, a radio voice for agriculture. So we've been around for 19 years now, and our team, we're just looking to uphold that legacy that Gary built and put out there. We're here to provide timely, relevant, and credible information for Indiana farmers, for Indiana agribusiness, for politicians that are trying to follow the ag industry, and they absolutely should, because just as well as I do, being the Secretary of Agriculture, agriculture is big business in Indiana.
It's the backbone.
Absolutely. I mean, it's absolutely what we do. It's what we're known for. We're a flyover state. Well, when you fly over, you see all the corn and soybeans that are feeding everywhere.
Yeah, feeding the world.
I mean, this is what we do. This is what we're good at, and we're just happy to support our farmers in that way.
So what is the kind of vision of the Who's Your Ag Today? So because media is changing, right? Mm-hmm. So when you started, or when Gary started the company in 2006, even from 2006 to today, how people consume and get news has vastly changed.
Yes.
It's very different, right?
Yeah.
And so what do you guys expect? How are farmers going to consume and get news? Do you guys have to play in all fields? Do you have to have newspaper, radio, social media, TikTok, YouTube? I mean, what's your guys' strategy? Because this seems like a pretty broad strategy.
There's been some research done recently. We're part of a larger organization. Believe it or not, there are enough of us farm broadcasters. There's a national association of us.
Wow.
And some recent research showed that farmers are consuming information and news about agriculture from at least 5 different sources daily.
Wow.
So we have to figure out how to be in all those spaces. We're on radio. That's been established. We're on over 70 radio stations across Indiana. Great radio stations that air our programming, and we partner with them to get this out to listeners. We've gotten in the podcast game. That's been around for a long time, our daily podcast, but we're adding more podcasts all the time. You mentioned the one you've been on is the Indiana Ag Policy Podcast. That's one I host because when I first started with Who's Your Ag Today, it was like policy was something that I really enjoyed. So I really kind of jumped into that game, and I now host that podcast. It's one of the funnest things I do. I mean,
it's a great podcast. Awesome. I love it. Yeah.
It really focuses in on what we're doing at the state level and at the federal level for agriculture. And now we've got to figure out, okay, where else are we going? Social media, obviously, is a big one. We're a big player there. Our website is huge. we're now taking some of these podcasts and turning them into video to make sure that you can't miss us at this point. Like, if you're missing us, it's on you, okay? So we're really excited about that, and we're really excited actually about a new project that we're launching here during the State Fair and in August. We're partnering with Purdue Extension to roll out 4 new podcasts in partnership with them to really focus on their mission of helping rural Hoosiers. And we're going to touch on all the different areas of focus that they have: ag and natural resources, 4-H youth development, health and human sciences, and also community development.
Wow.
So we're just excited to play in that space. And again, we're here for the farmer.
Yeah.
If the farmer succeeds, we succeed. Indiana succeeds. That's what we want to do.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Do you think Indiana is set up to really lead the nation in farming in the next decade or so? If that's a yes and no question, but it's also if yes, why? If no, what can we do to get there?
I think that Indiana's already one of the leaders in the country. I mean, you can look at production, and obviously I don't know that we just have the acres to get with an Iowa or Illinois, but the way we do it and the way we go about it, I think we're already one of the leaders. I know that we're already one of the leaders in the conservation space, with cover crops being planted. That research just came out from the Indiana State Department of Agriculture recently. We're doing a lot of good things, and to bring it back to the policy front a little bit, Indiana, and farmers recognize this, Indiana is a good place to do business. Mm-hmm. This has been kind of the story of Indiana for some time now. It's the same for farmers.
Yeah.
They each have a small business, and sometimes I think people forget that. Oh, they're just going out in their tractor, their combine. Yeah. No, they're a small business. Yeah. They have to make money or this thing doesn't go.
Sure.
So Indiana is a good place to do business. Are there some things that could be done to help farmers a bit more? Absolutely. But I think that farmers, by and large, will tell you Indiana is a good place to do this. We're set up well, and the future is bright.
Yeah. What do you hear from farmers that are their biggest hurdle struggles right now? I mean, when you're out there talking to them and they're saying, okay, man, boy, this is really becoming a burden. If we could just get this changed, that would be so much easier. What's kind of the 1 or 2 things that jump out to you?
Well, there's always weather. They can't change that.
That's true, right?
That's just uncertainty.
And we're not doing weather modification, just FYI.
No,
so we're not going down that path.
No,
so.
we're not getting there. But really, right now, it's prices. The price right now for corn and soybeans, it's tough.
Yeah.
Kind of hit a psychological mark in the corn market. We've been under $4 here recently. Soybeans under $10. Those are psychological points in the market where.
So explain. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but explain to the people that may be watching this or listening that don't really have any experience in farming.
Sure.
How do the prices? Because they're through the floor right now.
Yeah.
So when we say the prices, it's farmers can't get enough for their yields, right? Explain this. How does that work?
I mean, it's a lot like the stock market. If the prices are low, that's what you're getting for your product. Mm-hmm. You've got to play this game of, okay, when are the prices going to go up? When are they going to go down? Can I get rid of it enough in the heavy time or the high times? Can I hold off and store some of it when the prices are low?
Too much. So it's almost, we have too much of a good thing. That's why the prices are low. Right?
Yeah, and folks can, I mean, again, you can go back to policy stuff and you can talk about tariffs. You could talk about all these things, but what it really comes down to, and going back to the policy standpoint, by and large, I don't want to paint with too broad of a brush here, but farmers have been, and I mean, everyone saw the electoral maps. Indiana, a red state, rural America voted largely red. They're in support of things like President Trump trying to take care of trade.
Yeah.
It's a short-term hardship here until we see some real results from that. Again, I think most farmers, I don't want to paint a big, large brush here, but most farmers are in support of what's trying to be done with folks like China who are bad actors and trying to get that market taken care of to open up more export opportunity, more domestic opportunity. There's a lot of opportunities.
More fairness in trade. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And if it all works out, it's all going to be worth it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, I mean, that's a different story, and let's hope that we don't have to have that conversation.
Yeah, right.
But that's where we're at right now is prices are tough, and farmers are trying to figure out, can we afford to do this next fungicide pass or herbicide pass? Can we afford to do 2 if we need to? Or is that just going to cut into profits too much?
Yeah, sure.
So these are decisions that farmers are making right now.
I've noticed in Indiana farming community, to your point, they are God and country people. So largely red, largely, not to get political here, but just people who overwhelmingly supported President Trump. And I think what you hit on was so powerful because they're willing to sacrifice, even on their own personal gain, for the good of community, the good of the country, the good of their, of the future, right? They're visionaries. And we just came from AgriVision Awards, right? To award some farmers in the state of Indiana that have vision, and I believe, God's word says, without vision, the people perish. Where there's no vision, the people perish. And so I love that about our farmers in Indiana, where they're not just concerned with the here and now. They're saying, hey, we can forego something right now if the vision's there, right?
Yeah.
So how do we communicate that? What would you say from a state legislative perspective, since you deal in policy a lot, sort of your jam? What could we do as a state legislature or elected officials to help, in large part, create a vision that farmers are like, that's why we want to farm in Indiana?
I think that a lot of it's already being done, and that's great news. Again, Indiana is a great place for them to farm. Can there be some more things done? Absolutely. I know that there was some legislation that kind of came through this past session about, how can we keep the farm a farm?
Yeah.
How do we keep farms in the family? If we can keep farms in the family, there's a much better chance of it staying a farm instead of becoming a neighborhood. And we had the report that talked about all the lost farm ground and everything over the past, 15 years. I mean, it's a lot that we lost.
Yeah.
We still have quite a bit, and farmers are learning every year how to get more with less, and that's great.
It was about 2% of our farmland that we lost over the last 15 years.
So can we do more from the state legislature standpoint to help family farms stay in the family? I think that those things were explored during this last session. We might have had some stuff come through in the governor's budget. I mean, there are things that are happening. Could we do more? I think the answer is yes.
When you say more, farmers saying give us more money from the state government or federal government?
Farmers don't necessarily want handouts, but there are certain ways to incentivize going from one family member to the next. And I'm not a policy expert by any means. What I like to do on my podcast is bring the experts in and ask them the questions. But can we incentivize these farmers through tax incentives? Not having to pay so much if they sell to their own son or daughter.
Sure.
Yes. There are things that could be
incentivizing good
done.
behavior.
Yes, absolutely.
Policies that incentivize good behavior. We're not handing them out anything. We're just saying, hey, you do this, we believe that's going to be good for Indiana. We'll take some taxes off, right?
Absolutely.
We'll cut some red tape or whatever that might be for you. And so, I think that's a really great point. Now, have you always lived in Indiana? What's your background? How did you get into this?
So it's interesting. I grew up in Logansport, so I'm a Cass County. I'm a Logansport Berry. Okay.
Wait. What? A Logansport Berry?
Yeah, we're the berries there in Logansport. The berry patch right out back, and you may not know that I'm giving the Lieutenant Governor some history here.
Into the heart of your competitor.
Well, the very first mascot in the state of Indiana was from Logansport.
Really?
And it's not a berry.
Okay.
It's Felix the cat.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes. Big story about it.
Really?
It's probably a podcast for another day.
I didn't know that.
Felix the cat is the mascot at Logansport High School, where I went, graduated, met my wife there. And
so they changed it then to the berries?
No, it's always been the Logansport Berries.
Okay, so it's
but
berries.
Felix is the mascot.
So why?
Well, okay, we'll go.
What's the correlation?
So a long time
berries
ago,
isn't like
the berry patch.
Like the berry patch.
Yeah, there's
not Barry Sanders.
Yeah, no, there are berries out back behind the school.
Okay.
The berry patch is back there.
Was Felix the cat always eating the berries or something?
No, Felix the cat. There was a basketball player long ago that was like their good luck charm. They had a little Felix the cat. It was popular on TV. They had a little like a little doll almost. And when they were warming up before basketball games, he would take that and stick it at half court. And it just evolved from there.
Holy smokes. That's crazy. That's cool. So Logansport Berries.
The Logansport Berries.
Felix the mascot.
Felix the cat is the mascot.
Awesome.
It's a rich history, but striking fear in the heart of everyone. The berries as they walk in.
Listen, Huntington. I went to Huntington College. We were the Foresters. I mean, that's not that's kind of the same.
Chainsaw every once in a while. But I mean, so I went to Logansport. I grew up there. And the closest I ever got to, the farm community, I emceed a couple of 4-H fair queen contests. Like that was it. My background is in radio.
Okay.
I started doing radio in high school. working for a man named Andy Eubank, who I work with now. He's on our team at Hoosier Ag today. He's also my father-in-law. So I met my wife there. I met Andy there, and he hired me to do stuff in high school. For just being on air, and I was news director.
So you're
of that
all
station.
in, man. I mean, you got. This is.
I'm in it.
You can't mess this job up because family
no,
reunions would be really
very awkward. Yeah, very awkward. But I've been doing radio. I was news director at age 19 there in Logansport, right out of high school, and I've been doing news largely ever since. I've made a couple of detours into some other places, but radio always had my heart, and that's why I kind of got back into it, and so very thankful that I got into agriculture with it, because these are just the nicest people.
Oh yeah,
the people in agriculture are absolutely the best, without a doubt. I just love what I do every day now, and I've had the great fortune of having some farmers kind of take me under their wing and teach me a lot. Again, the policy stuff. I've just had really good farmer leaders that have taught me a lot about that. One is in the State House now, and Kendall Culp. He's a state
Kendall's
representative.
great.
Kendall, very early on, kind of helped me through a lot of these things and talked through a lot of things with me. So it's really been quite a ride, but I'm so thankful that it led me to Hoosier Ag today and this ag community, which in Indiana is just tremendous.
Fantastic. So married, how many kids do you have?
I've got 3 kids.
3 kids, okay.
Freshman, 7th grader, 4th grader, just a couple of them started school yesterday.
Yeah.
Like it's...
You're living the struggle's real, man. You're right in the middle of it all.
We're right in the middle of it, and
all girls.
I've got 2 boys and a girl in the middle.
Okay, girl. Okay, all right.
Yeah,
man, that's fantastic. And so, with your team at Hoosier Ag today, tell people a little bit about. How big's the team? Like what CJ and guys like that? You just brought on a new guy named Greg. Who does media. I think he's doing some. He's
doing a lot of video
stuff, right? So you're going more now video podcasting or vlogging almost.
Yeah,
and,
we're doing it all.
Yeah.
We're doing it all. And you mentioned Greg. We just hired him here like this past week, a couple weeks ago. He started right here before the state fair, and we just threw him, head first into the deep end.
Welcome to the game. Let's go. Yeah.
And he's fantastic. He is a tremendous talent. He worked for Walton Webcasting, who, if you're in the farming community and you've been paying attention to what goes on here at the state fair, they're the largest live streaming company in the country for livestock shows.
Wow.
So they travel. I think he said like 38 states. They're doing their state fair livestock shows and other shows as well. So, another good friend of ours at Hoosier Ag, he runs that company as well. So, it's a pretty tight knit, media community. But Greg is on board with us. He's a great radio talent, video talent. So he'll be doing that. CJ, you mentioned CJ Miller. He's our assistant news director. He actually worked as the morning news anchor for WIBC some years ago. So
Did he really?
Yes,
okay.
he was doing morning radio for WIBC.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
And now he's with us and does tremendous work.
He's good. You got Molly.
Molly Nichols is our director of sales and affiliate relations. So she works with all of our radio stations and all of our clients, our great local clients here in Indiana. And then Andy Eubank, who I mentioned, he does our market reports and does news, hosts our daily podcast as well. So, we've got that team, and then of course Gary, who I mentioned, he's still around. Okay, he still does some stuff, and we're very happy to have him because again, it was his vision. He was a winner of the AgriVision Award several years ago. Now, it was his vision that kind of brought us here.
Yeah. How many states have an Ag Today kind of news outlet?
A lot of them do. I'll tell you, we actually have a network in Michigan as well. So we have a Michigan Ag Today.
So you have to make sure you're wearing the right shirt. When
always.
It's
always.
like Michigan Ag
Today. Different color schemes so I can keep it straight. But yeah, we've got one in Michigan. I mean, there are in a lot of states. I would say, not to, I guess, humble brag here a little bit, but we are pretty large in the amount of broadcasters that we have and the amount of territory that we cover with our 70 radio stations.
Yeah, that's a big reach.
We really cover the whole state with that.
That's amazing. It's amazing. If people want to, find your podcast, connect with you guys, listen to you on the radio, like tell us where we can go to find more about Hoosier Ag Today?
HoosierAgToday.com. We keep it simple. Go there. There's a free Hoosier Ag Today mobile app as well if folks want to download that for either Android or iPhone. And what I really want people to understand here, Micah, we've talked a lot about the politics and the policy surrounding farmers and kind of where they are, where they're at. You talked about media changing earlier, and I think that's been a really big thing at the national level. And you've got conservative media, you've got liberal media, and quite frankly, we've been called both. Okay. So I guess that tells me we're doing something right.
I joked earlier, it's like, I still don't know how you voted in the last election. I'm going to find out, man. I'm going to find out. Yeah.
It really is. We're not right. We're not left. We're for the farmer.
Yeah.
So if there's a policy that is great for farmers, I don't care what side it came from, we're going to talk about the really good policy. If it's bad, again, we talked about farmers are largely in President Trump's camp. Here recently, I did a story about how he's working with Coca-Cola about trying to bring cane sugar back. That's going to take 15 to 35 cents right off the corn price nationally if that really goes through in a big way, because high fructose corn syrup, they're the largest consumer in the U.S.
Yeah.
I would consider that bad policy for farmers. But that doesn't mean we're anti-Donald Trump. It's just that particular policy.
Yeah. Have we thought about the ripple effects? You guys are very good at saying, hey, have you thought about these ripple effects and what that might do with these consequences over here? And that's a really good, you need people like that, because I think initially people say, hey, we should get back to natural cane sugar for the health reasons. But then we got to say, well, hold on a second. Like, what
are the health reasons?
What are the health reasons?
Because experts will say, it's negligible. I mean, there's nothing really there.
Yeah.
So, and you asked me earlier about what can Indiana do to, let's talk. This might be right up here. Let's talk Maha for a moment. Let's talk. What do you guys? Is it Miha? Miha? Okay.
Make Indiana healthy
if it's
again.
India, Miha. I think if you ask any farmer who again, leans to the right or whatever, they're not opposed to everything in Maha. They're not for everything in Maha or Miha. I mean, it's just little bits and pieces. If you look at it, you think, they kind of go after soybean oil a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, again, the experts will tell us, the people that have done all the research, that, high oleic soybean oil, it's heart healthy, it's the best out there for you. So I guess different opinions, different things, where do we go with that? I think that it's taking things one at a time instead of taking it on the whole. That's how we like to approach it. I think even with Miha, I think that farmers are largely in support of Governor Braun's stance. And I'm sure you've heard it as you go around the state. I think there could be maybe a misnomer or misconception if you really dig into it. And I know that it's talking about, buying from local, buying local, getting your meat from someone local. That's what I do. I've got a farmer friend. Shout out to Rippy Farms. I've got a freezer. Well, it's not full of beef now because I've kind of hit it pretty hard here this summer grilling season. But that's what I do. Yeah. But that doesn't make the stuff that's at the grocery store any less safe. It's not any less healthy than what comes from local. So I guess through all of this, we need to also keep in mind that the U.S. food infrastructure, the FDA, the USDA, the folks that inspect all that, it is the envy of the world. So I don't know. Is it really that bad? If someone wants to propose a better system,
sure,
come along and propose it and do that. I just want to make sure people understand that, if you're buying beef in the U.S., buying pork in the U.S., it's safe, it's healthy.
Yeah.
Again, I buy from a local farmer. I think it's the way to go. But people should have those choices and really, I guess with that, I want to make sure we know that it's safe and it's healthy and it's good to go.
Last question here. What do you think on the immigration stuff? Because again, sort of similar. I've not heard many farmers criticize President Trump on the whole, right? They're like, no, he's good for America, he's a strong leader, getting America back on the right track. But there are some consequences to that. If he goes the Maha route, it might hurt prices. It might hurt some farms. Same thing with immigration. He's really going after people who are here illegally and saying, hey, listen, you got to come through the front door the right way, and we're not going to put up with anything else. But then we know, I mean, I think the worst kept secret in the world is that farmers will use illegal immigration
because they want to.
Not because they want to, but it happens, right?
Yep.
And even when they say, well, we've gone through all the checks, and if they really are being honest, I think people will say, well, I think you can tell there's probably some shenanigans going on. And again, it's not to say that I've never heard a farmer say, well, I'm against removing people who shouldn't be here. But have you heard, like, is that getting pushed back? Like, oh man, like, I'm not going to get workers. Or are they like, we'll
I don't think there's a pushback.
Okay.
I think that there's still support. They want folks, they want a legal workforce.
Yeah, that's right.
At the end of the day, that's what they want. It's very difficult under the systems that are currently set up of who pays what for this, because the H-2A process here in Indiana, you have to pay a worker that's on that H-2A program more than what a Kentucky producer would pay. This is where it's kind of regionalized.
Is that a federal stipulation?
It is.
Really?
So the pay is kind of set for each region, each state. So how much of a disadvantage is that to Indiana growers when Kentucky growers can be doing that? Especially, southern Indiana, we've got melon country down there in Indiana. That's very labor intensive. You cross the border, and Kentucky folks are paying really significantly less for that labor than what Indiana folks are.
Yeah.
That's a disadvantage in the marketplace.
By the way, just shout out to, I think it's the pumpkin patch down in New Albany area in Floyd County. I got some cantaloupe there the other day from them.
I bet it's good.
It was the best cantaloupe I've ever had in my life.
Kind of craving some melon, like
I'm
some fruit.
I'm telling you right now.
I'm all about it right now.
I go to the store. I always see cantaloupe at the store at Kroger. And especially the cut up ones because it's easier, right?
Oh yeah,
I'm like, it looks so good, beautiful color. I get home, it like crunches more than a Dorito, and I'm just like, this is not what it's supposed to do, boy. But you get melon, like, and they literally just brought it right out of the field. Like they said, here's some fresh melon. And so I bought a couple, took it home, sliced them up. It was, I'm still.
You can't beat a good melon.
It was amazing.
Can't beat a good melon.
Yeah. So anyway, that's
no, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, but that they might be at a disadvantage just because of the labor rates between the two. So farmers want a legal workforce. They want strong borders. Again, I'm painting with a broad brush here. I'm speaking in generalities here. They're obviously, there are farmers who
will have differences of opinion.
And that's the case. But for the most part, they want a strong legal workforce. We need to help our dairy producers. They need year-round labor. The H-2A process doesn't allow for that. There are a number of barriers that farmers have that, yes, from a government standpoint, we could help and we could fix. The problem is it's always been, it has to be part of this immigration reform. We can't just have some common sense for farmers policy surrounding this of, all right, this worker has been here for how many years? Is there a path to citizenship where, like, hey, I've known this guy for a decade. He's a good guy. Can I vouch for him? Like, I know that it's a more difficult process than that, but I think that ultimately farmers would love for something like that to become the case so that they have access to that workforce.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. Good points. I'm glad you're on the ground listening and hearing from farmers. I mean, it's helpful, especially as somebody who's in the public office, to know, okay, you talk to farmers probably more than anybody else in the state does, and so that's always really, really good to know that you're listening. And to your point, I've heard similar things, probably not as much as you have, but similar things from farmers saying, hey, we're not against a strong America First policy agenda. And we're willing to do the hard things and sacrifice for the greater good of the country. But at the same time, can we not force us into bankruptcy? So that's,
And sometimes it's a fine line.
Yeah.
And farmers, again, you talk about just uncertainty with weather.
Yeah.
And then you bring all of these other things into place. It comes back to the point of what can state government do? Yeah. What can we do there? Ease some things to make sure that we're not creating more barriers for the next generation. Because again, if it doesn't go to the next generation, it's less likely to stay a farm.
That's right. You're right. Just as you're talking, just the passion, the fortitude, the integrity of farmers just brings back to Paul Harvey, that old "So God Made a Farmer."
Absolutely.
That was. I mean, I don't think anyone could say it any better than that.
Nope.
So,
I sure couldn't. I'm not going to try to be.
No. I mean, that was fantastic. But Derek, it's so good to hear a lot about what you're doing with Who's Your Ag Today. If you're listening to this, check out Who's Your Ag Today. Go check out their podcast. Get to their website, who'syouragtoday.com. Super simple, and just keep up the good work, man. I've been highly impressed with you, your whole team, and how you serve Indiana. I wish you all the best and continue because we need you in there doing what you're doing. So
thank you, and I'll just we're not a government like all the budget cuts for public. Well, that's not us. We're not a public thing. We're going about it and doing this. So we appreciate your support. We appreciate everyone in Indiana, the ag community, their support, because again we're also an Indiana agribusiness. I think people lose sight of that. They're just like, oh, he's the media. Well, no, we operate and us as owners, by the way, we're 95% locally owned. Like we're owned in Indiana. So, there are other folks that kind of do what we do. They're not in it quite like we are. We love our Hoosier farmers. We love what's going on in this community, and we're very proud to be a part of it.
Fantastic. Love it, man. Keep it up.